Hello everyone, I'm back from break and I have quite some things to share. So, first off, on the background is a speed paint of Hatsune Miku, her Dune version to be exact. I'm a Vocaloid fan, this is the version of Miku that's my favorite, so I want to draw this and it's a quite fun artwork to make. This is one of my best artworks currently, and looking at it now, I'm really proud of this artwork. Okay, enough of that, now it's time to go to the writing. The main reason why I took a break on the project is due to the pressure I have on myself. I've never done a visual novel yet, not even an experimental version. I did once turn a scene in the game FGO into a visual novel format, which is Jotter's Valentine's scene if you're wondering, but that did not prepare me for an epic fantasy style visual novel. So I took a break, I shifted my focus to artworks and made some art comics as well. More on that later. I also touched grass, like meeting with friends and playing some games. So after the break and a couple of videos on fighting procrastination, I found the courage to just go and finish the outline as simple as possible. No more getting into the details or waiting for good ideas. So in order to get the finished outline and start the storyboard phase, I need to tackle the most important parts of the outline as well as parts that I have not worked prior. I chose 4 main objectives. These objectives I would feel would complete the outline phase. Not perfect, but just finished. And these would be 1. A limited amount of scenes, 2. The stakes, aka the theme, the internal conflict, and the external conflict of the stories, 3. Story arcs of the supporting characters, and finally 4. Refining the settings. So going with the first objective, limited scenes, I have initially created a lot of scenes planning to reach 90 scenes as that's the scene count for some epic fantasy. But with the goal to make it simple, I instead capped the scene count to 60 scenes only. So that would mean that there will be 14 scenes on Act 1, 17 on Act 2, 15 on Act 3, and 14 on Act 4. I trimmed everything up and summarized each scene to 1 sentence. Other unimportant scenes but needed for the flow I set as half scenes or follow-ups. I basically followed save the cat method to the letter here. I also rewrote the ending, this time without any writing templates. This allowed me to explore the endings that I really find cool and hits the spirit of the story. It may need a few more polishing, but that would be scheduled for a later date. Now going on to the next phase of outlining, stakes. The philosophical stakes, the internal stakes, and the external stakes. This part I mainly learned from the YouTuber Tyler Mowry. Making it simple, I wrote 5 simple lines per stake. The status quo at the beginning of the story, then the end of each act from 1 to 4. So now I know the objectives of each act and how they will shape the protagonist. After that, I looked into the established scenes, the original 60 that I created, and see how these scenes contribute to the desired outcome for each of the stake. I gave myself 10 minutes per act to expand on each stake, each of the 3 stakes, making this whole process roughly 2 hours, much faster than the older method. For the supporting characters' story arcs, I repeated the 5-line trick, writing how they are in the beginning and how they will change throughout the end of each act. I also included basic characterization techniques for the characters like their wants, their needs, their lies, and their ghosts. And that is where I am currently at. Next thing I plan to do is refining the settings of each scene. Then go over all of the things that I have done for the final outline just to see if there's anything that I can improve on. Expanding on my new methods on this project, one of the lessons that I have carried from my experience from digital art is the concept of the double touch Midas. Unlike King Midas, who can touch things once and turn it into gold, I like to think of myself like a budget version, a personal coping mechanism against perfectionism. To make it simple, my personal agreement is to only edit a given part of the project twice before moving on. For me, anything edited more than twice is just an uphill battle, and it's better to just work on new parts. If that particular part is so bad that it sticks out like a sore thumb, only after I've done something new will I go back to that said part and do some more edits until it becomes better. If you wish to try this out, I suggest you find out how many tries it takes for you before it becomes unproductive and base the number of edits on that. And that is all for the visual novel project. Hopefully we'll be able to finish this dreaded outlining phase and try to move on and get into the storyboarding phase. I am really want to draw these characters now. Alright, one thing to expand more on this update, more than just the visual novel, I kind of want to talk about the artworks that I have recently made. This first illustration is called Overgrown, presenting a new character, Kayleen. She is a serial killer florist, but her main gimmick is planting flowers all over her body, and as you can see, she is in the process of trimming her garden. And then we have this artwork called A Wish to End the World. This is Tidbit's second illustration. So, Tidbits is another one of my original characters. She's immune to radiation and explosives and has an affinity for nuclear bombs. Fun. The narration here is how Tidbits wished to fight back against the world that she felt was always against her. A conflict that's pretty relatable, which is why I really love this piece. Last and quite the least is my attempts on making a low-budget comic. This happened when I was writing some boring info on Kayleen, the flower girl, as an addition to her post. My friend suggested to chop up this boring bio into single lines and draw a gag underneath. So I did just that, creating a bootleg parody comic for Kayleen, and it was very refreshing, as this was way laid back compared to the visual novel project. And I also rekindled my love for making gag comics again, with a fraction of the difficulty compared to the gag comic I made a few years back. Oh yeah, by the way, you can check it out, links down below. Well, that is it for now. I am happy with all the things I've created in these past 2 weeks, as well as finding some solutions to my problems. By the time I'm posting this, I will be in my mid-year, so I may do this bi-weekly, just to match my slower production rates. You just have to make time to study for uni. Anyways, any questions on the project or artwork, just comment them down below. Then tell me about your art projects, big or small. Let's motivate each other. So, get your art created and have a great day.